The Korean Mafia boss was poisoned by enemies in a cafe. Then the black waitress's magical antidote saves him in seconds. The coffee cup shattered against the marble floor, dark liquid spreading like blood across the white tiles. Kwon Tae-yang's vision blurred as he clutched his throat, feeling the poison burn through his veins like liquid fire. Around him, the morning rush at Lunar Cafe continued. Businessmen typing on laptops, students cramming for exams, no one noticing that the most powerful crime boss in Los Angeles was dying in booth 7. His bodyguards were outside rotating shifts. He'd wanted 5 minutes alone, 5 minutes of normalcy. It was going to cost him his life. Then she was there, the black waitress with the kind eyes who'd served him his coffee 3 minutes ago. Amara Brooks. He'd noticed her before. Noticed her every Tuesday and Thursday when he came here, though he'd never spoken beyond his order. Now she was pressing a napkin to his mouth, her warm brown eyes wide with fear. Sir, can you hear me? Someone call 911. Tae-yang tried to speak, to warn her away, but his throat was closing. The world tilted sideways. He was going to die on a Tuesday morning in a hipster cafe in Silver Lake, and the last thing he'd see was this beautiful stranger's terrified face. There were worse ways to go, but then Amara's hands started to glow. Actually glow. Soft, golden light emanating from her palms as she pressed them against his chest. Her eyes went distant, unfocused, and she whispered something in a language he didn't recognize. The burning in his veins shifted, changed, started to cool. The golden light intensified, and Tae-yang felt the poison being drawn out of his body like water from a well. What the hell? Someone shouted. Is she glowing? Oh my God, she's glowing. Phones came out. People started filming, and Amara's eyes snapped back into focus, the light dying instantly as she realized what she'd done, what people had seen. Horror flooded her expression. No, 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 no. She pulled her hands away, stumbling backward. Tae-yang could breathe again. His vision cleared. The poison was gone, neutralized, impossible but true. He sat up, catching Amara's wrist before she could run. Wait, what did you do to me? I don't... Her eyes darted to the phones, to the growing crowd. I have to go. I'm sorry, I have to... She yanked free and ran, disappearing through the kitchen, leaving Tae-yang sitting in a puddle of spilled coffee, alive when he should be dead, with a dozen witnesses and too many questions. His bodyguards burst through the door, weapons drawn, scanning for threats. Tae-yang stood on shaking legs, his mind racing. Someone had poisoned him. Someone close enough to access his coffee before it reached his table, and a waitress with impossible golden light in her hands had saved his life. He needed answers to both mysteries. Now. Amara didn't stop running until she reached her apartment in Echo Park, 3 miles away, lungs burning and heart hammering. She slammed the door behind her and slid down to the floor, shaking uncontrollably. Stupid, 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 stupid. 26 years of hiding her gift. 26 years of her grandmother's warnings ringing in her ears. Never let them see, baby girl. Never let them know what you can do. They'll fear you, use you, destroy you. And she just used her healing magic in front of 50 people with smartphones. Her phone was already blowing up. Texts from her coworkers, missed calls from her manager, notifications from social media apps she barely used. She turned it off with shaking hands and tried to breathe. Tried to think. The man in the booth. She'd been watching him for weeks. How could she not? He was beautiful in a dangerous way, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that seemed to see through everyone. He always sat alone, always ordered the same thing. Black coffee, no sugar. Always left exactly a $20 tip for a $4 coffee. And he radiated power like other people radiated heat. Today she'd brought him his usual order, and something in her chest had tightened. A warning. Her grandmother had called it the knowing. The sense when something was deeply wrong. Amara had almost said something. Almost warned him not to drink the coffee. But how do you tell a stranger their drink is poisoned without sounding insane? Then he'd drunk it anyway, and the knowing had exploded into certainty. She'd watched him start to seize, watched his lips turn blue, and every instinct had screamed at her to help. She'd reached for him before her brain could catch up, and the magic had poured out of her like it always did when someone was dying. Unstoppable. Inevitable. A knock at the door made her jump. Amara, you in there? Girl, what the hell happened? Her best friend and roommate, Nia, was home early from her nursing shift. Amara opened the door, and Nia took one look at her face before pulling her into a hug. Okay, deep breaths. Tell me what happened. I healed someone, in public, in front of everyone. The words tumbled out. There were phones, Nia. So many phones. And I couldn't stop it. I couldn't let him die. Slow down. Start from the beginning. Nia guided her to the couch, and Amara told her everything. About the beautiful man with the dangerous eyes, the poisoned coffee, the golden light she couldn't control. Shit, Nia said when she finished. Okay, we can handle this. Maybe people will think it was the lighting or some kind of trick. Nia, my hands were glowing. I was literally glowing like a human flashlight. Amara laughed, slightly hysterical. There's no explaining that away. Then we need to figure out our next move before... The door rattled with heavy pounding. 3 sharp knocks. Amara Brooks, we need to speak with you. Please open the door. The voice was accented, Korean, and carried the weight of someone used to being obeyed. Amara and Nia exchanged terrified glances. Don't answer it, Nia whispered. We know you're inside, Ms. Brooks. We're not leaving until we talk. You can make this easy or difficult. Your choice. Who are you? Amara called through the door. Security for the man you saved. He wants to thank you personally. I'm fine. No thanks necessary. Please leave. A long pause, then, Ms. Brooks, you saved my employer's life. He's not the kind of man who leaves debts unpaid. And there are complications from this morning that require discussion. Please, 5 minutes of your time. Nia shook her head frantically, but Amara's knowing was stirring again. Not danger exactly, but inevitability. These people wouldn't leave. And if the man she'd saved was who she suspected, someone powerful, someone with resources, running would only delay the confrontation. She opened the door to find 2 Korean men in dark suits, earpieces visible, and between them, the man from the cafe. He looked completely recovered, no trace of the poison that had nearly killed him an hour ago. Up close, he was even more striking. Tall, lean, with perfectly styled dark hair, and a face that belonged on magazine covers. But it was his eyes that caught her, dark and intense, and full of something that made her pulse quicken. Ms. Brooks. He bowed slightly, a gesture of respect that seemed out of place in an Echo Park hallway. My name is Kwon Tai-yang. May we come in? Every instinct screamed to say no, but the knowing whispered otherwise. This man was dangerous, yes, but not to her. Not yet. 5 minutes, she said, stepping aside. He entered with his guards, who immediately positioned themselves by the windows and door. Nia stood protectively close to Amara, arms crossed. Tai-yang's eyes swept the apartment, taking in the small space, the secondhand furniture, the medical textbooks scattered across the coffee table, before settling on Amara. Thank you for seeing me. I wanted to express my gratitude personally. You saved my life. His English was perfect, accent barely noticeable. I also wanted to discuss what happened this morning. I don't know what you're talking about, Amara said automatically. You healed me. Your hands glowed with golden light, and you drew the poison from my body using what I can only describe as magic. He said it matter-of-factly, like he was discussing the weather. I've seen many things in my life, Ms. Brooks. This was new and fascinating. You're crazy. It was probably just adrenaline or... He pulled out his phone, tapping the screen, and turned it toward her. A video played, grainy but clear enough. Amara's hands pressed to his chest, golden light pouring from her palms, his convulsing body going still. The footage was from at least 3 different angles. Multiple witnesses, undeniable proof. These videos are already spreading online, Taeyang continued quietly. In a few hours, they'll go viral. News outlets will pick them up. Scientists will want to study you, and others, he paused meaningfully, others will want to use you. What do you want? Amara's voice came out steadier than she felt. To help you, to protect you from what's coming, and to understand what you are. He pocketed his phone. Ms. Brooks, I run a very successful organization. I have resources, connections, the ability to make problems disappear. In exchange for your discretion about certain aspects of my business, I can offer you protection, security, and answers about your abilities. What kind of organization? Nia demanded. Taeyang's smile was slight, dangerous. The kind that doesn't advertise. But I assure you, I'm very good at keeping secrets and protecting what's mine. I'm not yours, Amara said sharply. No, But you saved my life, which creates a debt, and I always repay my debts. His eyes held hers. Those videos are already attracting attention. Government agencies, pharmaceutical companies, others you don't want to meet. They'll come for you, Ms. Brooks. The question is whether you want my protection when they do. This is insane, Naya muttered. Amara, you can't trust this guy. He screams mob boss. Tae-yang didn't deny it, just kept watching Amara with those intense dark eyes, waiting for her decision. And Amara's knowing whispered that he was telling the truth. Danger was coming. She needed help. And this dangerous, beautiful man was offering it. 48 hours, she said. I'll give you 48 hours to prove you can actually help. But if I sense any bullshit, any attempt to control me or use me, I walk. We clear? Crystal? His smile widened slightly. Pack a bag, both of you. You're staying somewhere safe until I can contain this situation. I have shifts at the cafe. The cafe is already swarmed with reporters and government vehicles. You won't be going back there anytime soon. He gestured to his guards. 5 minutes to pack. My people will escort you. It was happening too fast, spinning out of control. But Amara looked at Nia's terrified face and knew she couldn't put her friend in danger by staying. Fine, but we're not prisoners, right? You're my guests. There's a difference. Tae-yang moved toward the door, then paused. And Ms. Brooks, thank you, again, for my life. The safe house was in the Hollywood Hills, a sprawling modern mansion with floor-to-ceiling windows, infinity pool and security that would make Fort Knox jealous. Amara and Nia were given adjoining rooms, each bigger than their entire apartment, with ensuite bathrooms and views that stretched to the ocean. This is surreal, Nia whispered, touching the Egyptian cotton sheets like they might disappear. Who is this guy? What have you gotten us into? I don't know. But I'm going to find out. Amara moved to the window, looking out at the city below. Somewhere down there, videos of her were spreading. People were talking, speculating, hunting, and she was trapped in a gilded cage with a man who probably killed people for a living. A knock at the door. One of Tae-yang's guards, a woman this time, petite and deadly looking, stood in the hallway. Boss wants to see you. Conference room. Downstairs. The conference room was all glass and steel, dominated by a massive table where Tae-yang sat with a laptop and scattered papers. He'd changed into casual clothes, black jeans and a fitted t-shirt that showed off his lean frame, and looked more human somehow, less intimidating. Sit, he said, gesturing to the chair across from him. We need to discuss your situation. Amara sat, keeping the table between them. Okay, talk. He turned the laptop toward her. News articles were already appearing. Miracle healing caught on camera. Woman's hands glow while saving dying man. Proof of supernatural abilities? The comments ranged from skepticism to religious fervor to scientific fascination. Within 6 hours, you become the most talked about person in the country, Tae-yang said. The government is already asking questions. My sources say Homeland Security has opened a file. The CDC wants to interview you. And there are others, private organizations I won't name, who've put a price on information about your location. A price? Like a bounty? Like an incentive. These people don't care about your well-being. They care about what you can do, what you represent. He leaned forward. Tell me about your abilities. How long have you had them? What are their limits? Why should I tell you anything? Because I'm the only thing standing between you and a government facility or a corporate lab. Because I have resources to help you, but I need information to do it effectively. His expression softened slightly. And because I'm curious, you saved my life with magic, Ms. Brooks. That deserves an explanation. Amara studied him, this beautiful, dangerous man who'd invaded her life. Her knowing didn't scream danger, just interest, curiosity, something else she couldn't name. My grandmother had the gift, she said finally. She called it the healing touch. She could cure diseases, mend broken bones, draw out poisons. She died when I was 16, but not before teaching me everything she knew. And your parents? Never knew them. Grandma said my mother had the gift too, but it burned her out. Using it too much, too often, until there was nothing left. Amara's hands trembled slightly. That's the price. Every time I heal someone, it takes something from me. Energy, life force, whatever you want to call it. Grandma said some healers die young because they give too much. Tae-yang's expression darkened. And yet you used it on me. a stranger, knowing the cost. I couldn't let you die. My knowing, my intuition, it wouldn't let me walk away. This knowing, it warned you I was poisoned? Yes, before you even drank the coffee, I knew something was wrong. But I didn't know how to warn you without sounding crazy. He sat back, processing. The poison was ricin, extremely lethal. My people are investigating who had access to my coffee, but it means someone in my organization has turned. Someone close enough to get to me. His jaw tightened. You didn't just save my life, Ms. Brooks. You exposed a traitor. Who would want you dead? A bitter smile. The list is long. I run the Kwan family operations in Los Angeles. Import-export, entertainment, protection services. Some legal, some... He shrugged. Less so. I've made many enemies acquiring and maintaining power. You're in the Korean Mafia. It wasn't a question. That's the crude term, yes. I prefer to think of myself as a businessman with flexible ethics. His eyes met hers. Does that frighten you? It should. But my knowing says you're not going to hurt me. So either my instincts are broken or you're telling the truth about wanting to help. I am telling the truth. You saved my life. In my world, that creates a bond, an obligation. I will protect you from what's coming, Ms. Brooks. I promise you that. Amara, if we're doing this, you can call me Amara. His smile was genuine this time, reaching his eyes. Amara, beautiful name. It means eternal in Sanskrit. It means bitter in Hebrew. My grandmother had a sense of humor. Bitter and eternal, fitting for someone with your gift. He stood, moving to a small bar in the corner. Drink? This conversation calls for it. It's 2 p.m. I was poisoned this morning. I'm making exceptions. He poured 2 glasses of whiskey, bringing one to her. To surviving impossible situations? Amara took the glass, studying the amber liquid. Her knowing didn't scream poison, but after this morning, she was paranoid. Tae Yang seemed to read her hesitation. He switched their glasses, drinking from hers first, then sliding it back. See? Safe. That's not how poison works. You could have built up immunity. True, but I didn't. He raised his glass. Trust has to start somewhere, Amara. She drank. The whiskey burned going down, smooth and expensive. So what now? I hide here forever while you hunt for the person who tried to kill you? No, we're going to be more proactive than that. Taeyong pulled up another screen on his laptop. I have a plan, but it requires your cooperation and your abilities. I'm not healing people for you. I'm not some weapon you can point at your enemies. I'm not asking you to be, but I do need you to demonstrate your abilities. Controlled setting, verified witnesses, scientific documentation. Why? Because right now, you're a viral video and a mystery. That makes you vulnerable. But if we control the narrative, show the world what you can do on our terms, you become something else, someone with value, someone important people want to protect, not dissect. Amara set down her glass. You want to weaponize my gift, just in a different way. I want to protect you and myself. My enemies see that video. They'll try to get to me through you. But if the world sees you as something precious, something unique, they'll think twice. He leaned forward. Amara, you're going to be hunted regardless. The question is whether you're hunted as a curiosity or respected as a miracle. And what do you get out of this? The woman who saved my life, protected, my debt repaid, and possibly, he paused, possibly a friend. I don't have many of those. The vulnerability in his voice caught her off guard. This dangerous man, admitting loneliness. You're very good at this, Amara said quietly. At what? Making me want to trust you when I absolutely shouldn't. His smile was soft, almost sad. I'm not manipulating you, Amara. I'm being honest. For the first time in years, I'm being completely honest with someone. It's refreshing. They looked at each other across the table, and something passed between them. Recognition, maybe. 2 people with dangerous gifts, trying to survive in a world that would destroy them for being different. Amara felt her knowing stir. Not a warning this time, but something warmer. This man would change everything. For better or worse, he was now part of her story. Okay, she said, I'll do your demonstration. But on my terms. I choose who I heal. I choose when and where. And you answer every question I have about your world truthfully. Deal. Taeyang extended his hand across the table. Partners? Amara took his hand, feeling warmth spread from the contact. Partners. For now. The demonstration was set for 3 days later at UCLA Medical Center. Tai Yang had pulled strings Amara didn't want to understand, getting them access to a private wing and assembling an audience of doctors, scientists, and carefully selected media. The patient was a 10-year-old girl named Sophie Chen, dying of leukemia, who'd exhausted all treatment options. You don't have to do this, Taeyong said as they prepared in an antechamber. If it's too much, we find another way. She's a child, she's dying. Of course I have to do this. Amara's hands trembled as she tied her hair back. But I'm scared. I've never healed someone this sick before. What if it doesn't work? What if I make it worse? Then we handle it, together. He stepped closer and Amara caught his scent. Sandalwood and something darker, more exotic. You're extraordinary, Amara. Trust yourself. Their eyes met, and Amara felt her pulse quicken. God, he was beautiful and dangerous, and looking at her like she was something precious. This was a terrible idea, getting attached to a criminal who dragged her into his world. But when he reached up and tucked a stray curl behind her ear, his fingers lingering on her cheek, Amara didn't pull away. After this is over, she whispered, you and I need to talk about what's happening here. What's happening here? His thumb brushed her jawline. This, whatever this is, because it feels like more than gratitude. It is more. His voice was low, intense. From the first Tuesday you served me coffee, I've been drawn to you. Your kindness, your strength, the way you see people, and now that I know what you really are? He leaned closer until their faces were inches apart. Now I'm fascinated, captivated, falling. Tai Yang! The moment broke. Tai Yang stepped back, professional mask sliding into place, but his eyes stayed warm, promising they'd continue this conversation later. Amara took a deep breath and followed him into the demonstration room. Sophie lay in a hospital bed, tiny and frail, skin translucent over visible bones. Her parents clutched each other nearby, hope and terror warring in their expressions. Around the room, doctors, researchers, and 3 carefully vetted journalists watched with clipboards and cameras. Hi, Sophie, Amara said softly, approaching the bed. My name is Amara. I'm going to try to help you feel better, okay? Are you an angel? Sophie's voice was barely a whisper. No, sweetheart, just a woman with a gift. Can I touch your hands? Sophie nodded, and Amara took those small, cold hands in hers. She closed her eyes, reaching for the power that lived beneath her skin. It rose immediately, eager, flooding through her arms and into her palms. Golden light began to glow, and she heard gasps from the observers. But Amara blocked them out, focusing entirely on Sophie. She felt the cancer like shadows in the girl's body. Dark, hungry, consuming her from the inside. Amara's gift wrapped around those shadows, drawing them out cell by cell, neutralizing their poison, rebuilding what they'd destroyed. The light intensified, so bright people had to shield their eyes. Amara felt the drain, the pulling sensation as her own life force poured into Sophie's dying body. Her grandmother's warnings echoed, don't give too much. Don't burn yourself out. But Sophie was a child, deserved life, deserved a future. Amara gave everything she had. When the light finally faded, Amara collapsed backward into someone's arms. Tae Yang's arms, she realized dimly. He held her upright as the room erupted in shocked exclamations. Sophie sat up in bed, color returning to her cheeks, eyes bright and clear. Mommy, I'm hungry. Can I have pancakes? Her mother sobbed, crushing her daughter in a hug. Doctors rushed forward with instruments, checking vitals, taking readings. Amara heard fragments of their shocked voices. Complete remission? Impossible. Every marker normal. No trace of disease. You did it, Ta Yang whispered in her ear, holding her steady. You saved her. I'm so tired, Amara murmured. The world was spinning, gray at the edges. I've got you. Rest now. I'll handle everything else. His arms tightened and Amara let herself drift, trusting this dangerous man to keep her safe while she recovered from giving too much of herself away. She woke in a hospital bed, private room, monitors beeping steadily, IV in her arm. Nia sat in a chair beside her, medical journal open but clearly not reading it. Hey, Amara croaked. How long was I out? 18 hours. You scared the shit out of me. Nia closed the journal, expression torn between relief and anger. The doctors said you were severely dehydrated, electrolyte imbalance. Your vitals were all over the place. Amara, you almost died. Sophie? Completely healthy. It's a miracle, literally. Nia leaned forward. The videos are everywhere. You're all over the news. Real-life healer cures cancer. Proof of divine intervention. Woman's gift challenges science. You're famous, girl, and that terrifies me. Where's Tai Yang? Your mob boss boyfriend? Handling the media circus. He's been running interference, making sure no one gets to you. Nia's voice softened. He hasn't left the hospital, slept in a chair outside your room. I think he really cares about you. He's not my boyfriend. Maybe not yet. But the way he looks at you, Nia raised an eyebrow. That man is falling hard. Before Amara could respond, the door opened. Taeyang entered, and Amara's breath caught at the sight of him, rumpled, exhausted, but his whole face lighting up when he saw her awake. You're awake, thank God. He crossed to her bedside, taking her hand gently. How do you feel? Like I got hit by a truck, but alive. She squeezed his fingers. Thank you for taking care of me. Always. His eyes held hers, warm and intense. The demonstration worked, by the way. You're a sensation, but it's also complicated things. How complicated? The government wants to meet with you. Officially, NIH, CDC, Homeland Security, everyone wants a piece. But I've negotiated terms. No compulsory testing, no detainment, full autonomy. In exchange, you agree to occasional consultations and don't heal anyone without documentation. They're trying to control my gift. They're trying to understand it and protect national security. Imagine if hostile nations got someone with your abilities. He sat on the edge of her bed. But I won't let them exploit you. You have my word. Why are you doing this? Really? Amara studied his face. You've repaid any debt you owed me 1,000 times over. Why keep protecting me? Taeyang was quiet for a long moment. Then, because for the first time in my life, I've met someone who sees me as more than my name or my power. You see Taeyang, not Boss Quan. And when you look at me, his voice roughened. When you look at me, I feel human again. Nia cleared her throat loudly. I'm going to get coffee, very far away coffee. You two need to talk. She left, closing the door pointedly behind her. Alone with Taeyang, Amara felt the weight of everything unsaid between them. This is crazy, she whispered. I've known you less than a week. 5 days, 13 hours, 22 minutes since you saved my life. His smile was slight. Not that I'm counting. You're a criminal. I'm a healer. We're from completely different worlds. And yet here we are. You in my life, me in yours. Neither of us sure how it happened, but both afraid to let go. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles gently. I don't believe in fate, Amara. I build my own future. But meeting you feels like destiny. Taeyang, I can't be with someone who hurts people, who kills. I've spent my whole life healing. I can't love someone who destroys. I know. And I can't promise I'll ever be completely clean. My world is dark, violent, built on blood and money. His eyes blazed. But for you, I want to be better. I want to be someone worthy of your light. Tell me how, and I'll try. Amara's heart was pounding. You're serious. Completely. You saved my life, Amara. Let me spend it trying to deserve you. She should say no, should protect herself from the inevitable heartbreak. But her knowing whispered differently. This man, for all his darkness, had light inside him. Light that had been buried under duty and violence and survival. And maybe, just maybe, she could help him find it again. Okay, she whispered. Let's try. But slowly and honestly, no more secrets. No more secrets, he agreed, then hesitantly. Can I kiss you? You're asking permission? After everything? Consent matters, even when you're falling in love. Amara's breath caught. Love? Already? I'm a man who makes fast decisions, and I decided 5 days ago that you were going to change my life. His thumb brushed her cheek. So yes, I'm falling in love with you, terrifying and illogical as that is. It's completely insane. Most worthwhile things are. He leaned closer, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, his lips met hers, soft, careful, reverent. The kiss deepened slowly, and Amara felt warmth flood through her. This was different from her healing magic. This was connection, chemistry, something entirely human and entirely magical at once. When they finally broke apart, Tai Yang rested his forehead against hers. Rest now, recover, and when you're ready, we face the world together. Together, Amara agreed and let her eyes drift closed, his hand warm in hers, feeling safer than she had in years. The government meetings were tedious, but necessary. Amara, with Tai Yang beside her and a lawyer he'd hired, negotiated terms for her cooperation. She would consult on medical cases when asked, demonstrate her abilities for scientific study under controlled conditions, and help develop understanding of healing magic. In exchange, she retained full autonomy, couldn't be compelled to heal anyone, and would receive compensation for her time. The government wasn't happy with the terms, but Tai Yang's lawyers were relentless, and public opinion was firmly on Amara's side. She was a miracle, not a weapon. Meanwhile, Tai Yang's investigation into who'd poisoned him was bearing fruit. One of his mid-level lieutenants, a man named Park Jin-woo, had been receiving payments from a rival organization, the Zhang family, Chinese syndicate trying to expand into Korean territory. He confessed, Tai Yang told Amara over dinner at the safe house. They'd fallen into a routine, breakfast together, Tai Yang handling business while Amara worked with researchers, dinner where they talked about everything except the darkness of his world. Jinwoo admitted to poisoning my coffee, said the Zhangs offered him a fortune and protection if I died. What will you do to him? Amara asked quietly. Tai Yang set down his chopsticks. Traditionally, he'd be executed. Traitors don't live in my world. And now, with me in your life? Now I'm trying to be better. So instead of death, exile, Jinwoo leaves the country, never returns, forfeits all assets. His family is protected but disgraced. He lives with the shame of betrayal. That's surprisingly merciful. Don't mistake mercy for weakness. I'm still having his co-conspirators dealt with. The Zhang family will learn that poisoning me has consequences. His eyes darkened. But I'm trying, Amara. Trying to find ways to maintain power without maximum violence. I appreciate that, really. She reached across the table, taking his hand. It means something that you're trying. They'd been living in this careful balance for 2 weeks now, growing closer, kissing frequently, but not taking things further. Both aware of the danger, the complications, the impossibility of their situation, but also unable to deny the connection growing between them. Come with me tomorrow, Tai Yang said suddenly. I want to show you something. Show me what? My world. The real version, not the violence and crime you imagine, but the community, the people I protect. Let me prove I'm not just a monster. I don't think you're a monster. Don't you? Even a little? His smile was sad. I see how you look at me sometimes. When I take calls about business, when my people report in, you see the darkness I carry. I see a man trying to change. That matters more than what you were. Then come with me tomorrow. See why I do what I do. Understand the people who depend on me, and decide if you can really love someone with blood on his hands. Amara's knowing stirred, not warning, but encouragement. Okay, show me. The next day, Tai Yang took her to Koreatown. Not the touristy areas, but the back streets where families lived, where Korean immigrants built businesses and communities far from their homeland. He walked her through markets where vendors called out greetings, bowing respectfully, showed her restaurants his family funded, apartment buildings they maintained at below market rent. My grandfather came here with nothing, Tai Yang explained as they walked. He built the Kwan family not through violence, but through protection. Korean businesses were being extorted, robbed, destroyed. Police didn't care. So my grandfather organized the community, provided security, made sure our people could thrive. And it evolved into organized crime. It evolved into survival. The legal system failed us, so we created our own. Yes, we control gambling, protection services, import-export. But we also fund scholarships, help new immigrants find work, protect our community from outside threats. He stopped at a small playground where children laughed and played. These kids grow up safe because my family ensures it. You're a Robin Hood figure. Steal from the rich, give to the poor. I prefer to think of myself as a businessman with strong community ties. His smile was wry. But yes, essentially. My illegal enterprises fund legal community support. It's not purely altruistic. Loyal communities mean stable operations. But the outcome is the same. People are protected. They visited a community center next. Kids doing homework with tutors, elderly Koreans playing baduk, young mothers in English classes. All of it funded by Tai Yang's businesses. The director, an older Korean woman, hugged him fiercely and spoke rapidly in Korean that Amara didn't understand. She's thanking me for the new computer lab, Tae Yang translated, and asking if you're my girlfriend. He glanced at Amara, eyebrow raised. What should I tell her? Amara's pulse quickened. They hadn't defined what they were, hadn't had that conversation. But looking at Tai Yang in the middle of the community he protected, seeing the respect and genuine affection people had for him, she realized her answer. Tell her yes. Tai Yang's smile could have lit the whole city. He turned back to the director, speaking Korean again, and the woman's face brightened. She pulled Amara into a hug, chattering excitedly. She says you're beautiful and perfect for me, Tai Yang translated, grinning, and that it's about time I found someone to settle down with. Settle down? We've been dating for less than a month. In Korean culture, we move fast when we know. His hand found hers, lacing their fingers together. And I know, Amara. I've known since you saved my life. You're it for me. The words should have terrified her. Instead, they felt right, like coming home. I know too, she admitted. It's crazy and fast and completely illogical, but I know. They spent the rest of the day meeting people, eating at family-owned restaurants, seeing the community Tai Yang had spent his life protecting. And Amara began to understand. He wasn't a simple criminal. He was a leader, a protector, someone who'd taken on impossible responsibility to keep his people safe. That evening, back at the safe house, they sat on the terrace overlooking the city. Amara leaned against Tae Yang's chest, his arms wrapped around her, both of them watching the sunset paint the sky in oranges and pinks. Thank you for today, Amara said quietly, for showing me your world. Thank you for seeing it, for not running when you realized how complicated my life is. He kissed the top of her head. I want you to know something. I've been thinking about transitioning operations, moving everything legitimate, slowly closing down illegal enterprises. Amara twisted to look up at him. What? Why? Because I want a future with you, a real one, and I can't build that while running a criminal organization. His eyes were serious. It'll take time, years probably. I have obligations, people who depend on the current system, but I'm going to start the process. For you, for us. Tae Yang, I'm not asking you to give up everything. I know, but I want to. I've been looking for an exit strategy for years. You gave me a reason to actually do it. He cupped her face gently. I love you, Amara Brooks. I want to build a life where I deserve you. You already deserve me. You're a good man doing hard things in impossible situations. I'm a man trying to be good. There's a difference. He kissed her softly. But with you, I think I can actually succeed. Amara kissed him back, deeper this time, and felt his arms tighten around her. The kiss evolved into more. Hands roaming, breath quickening, both of them drowning in sensation. Stay with me tonight, Ta Yang whispered against her lips. Not because of gratitude or obligation, because I want you, because I'm in love with you, because I've been dreaming about this since the moment I saw you. Yes, Amara breathed. God, yes. They moved to his bedroom, a space she'd never entered, all dark wood and masculine elegance. Tai Yang undressed her slowly, reverently, like she was something precious. And when they finally came together, it felt like more than physical connection. It felt like magic of a different kind. Two souls recognizing each other, choosing each other despite every logical reason not to. Afterward, lying tangled in expensive sheets, Tae Yang traced patterns on Amara's bare skin. I have to tell you something about the poisoning. Amara's contentment vanished, replaced by tension. What about it? The Zhang family. They're not satisfied with Jinwoo's exile. They want war. They know about you, about what you can do, and they see you as leverage against me. Fear spiked through her. They're coming after me? They're going to try. But I won't let them reach you. I've increased security, put my best people on your protection detail, and I'm negotiating with other family heads to pressure the Zhangs into backing off. What if they don't back off? Tai Yang's expression went cold, dangerous. Then I remind them why the Kwan family has controlled Los Angeles for 3 generations. I destroy them so completely that no one ever threatens what's mine again. Tai Yang, I know, violence shouldn't be the answer. But Amara, you're my weakness now. The one thing they can use against me. And I will burn this entire city to ash before I let anyone hurt you. The possessive declaration should have frightened her. Instead, it sent warmth flooding through her chest. I can protect myself. I have magic too. Healing magic, not fighting magic. He pulled her closer. Promise me you'll be careful. Promise me you won't take unnecessary risks. I promise, if you promise the same. Deal. He kissed her forehead. Now sleep. Tomorrow we plan our next moves. Tonight, just be with me. Amara let herself drift off in his arms, feeling safer than logic dictated she should, trusting this dangerous man to keep the monsters at bay. The attack came 3 days later. Amara was at the community center in Koreatown, teaching a first aid class. Tai Yang's security team positioned discreetly throughout the building. Everything seemed normal, safe, until the windows exploded inward and armed men poured through. Chinese gang members, faces covered, weapons drawn. Screams erupted as civilians dove for cover. Taeyang's guards returned fire, but they were outnumbered. Amara Brooks, one of the attackers shouted. Come with us quietly and no one else gets hurt. Like hell, Amara dropped behind a desk, mind racing. Her phone was in her purse across the room. The guards were pinned down. Civilians were in the crossfire. This was a disaster. Then she saw him, a young guard, barely 20, taking a bullet to the chest. He went down hard, blood spreading across his shirt. Without thinking, Amara ran to him, sliding across the floor. Her hands found the wound and golden light flared. There, someone shouted. She's healing him! Grab her! Rough hands yanked Amara up, tearing her away from the guard. She struggled, screaming, kicking back hard. One attacker went down, but there were too many. Something hard hit the back of her head, and the world went gray. She woke zip-tied to a chair in a warehouse, industrial, abandoned, echoing. Pain throbbed in her skull. Blood trickled down her neck. Across from her sat an older Chinese man in an expensive suit, flanked by armed guards. Ms. Brooks, so good of you to join us. His English was perfect, accent barely noticeable. I am Zhang Wei, head of the Zhang family operations, and you are going to help me destroy Quan Taeyang. Go to hell, Amara spat. Zhang Wei smiled, pleasant and terrifying. Defiant. I respect that, but you don't understand your situation. I have you. Tai Yang cares about you. He'll trade anything to get you back. Territory, businesses, his own life. You're the key to everything. He'll kill you, all of you. Perhaps, but first he'll bargain. And while he bargains, you're going to demonstrate your healing abilities for my organization. I have people who need your services. And you will heal them, or civilians start dying. I won't heal criminals. You'll heal whoever I tell you to. Or I start executing the 20 hostages we took from the community center. 1 every hour until you comply. He gestured, and a screen lit up, showing terrified Koreans bound and gagged in another room. Your choice, Ms. Brooks. Save my people, or watch innocents die. Amara's knowing screamed danger, but also something else. Opportunity. Fine, I'll heal your people, but I need my hands free, and I'll need to touch them directly. No healing through barriers. Zhang Wei considered, then nodded to his guards. They cut the zip ties and Amara rubbed her wrists, feeling her magic stirring. It wanted to heal, always wanted to heal, but it could do something else too. Something her grandmother had warned her about but taught her anyway. Bring in the first patient, Zhang Wei ordered. They brought in a man with a bullet wound in his abdomen. Infected, festering, clearly untreated for days. He was dying and he knew it. Fear and pain twisted his features. Heal him, Zhang Wei commanded. Amara placed her hands on the wound, letting golden light flow. But this time, she directed it differently. Instead of drawing out poison, she pushed it deeper. Instead of healing cells, she multiplied the infection. The light looked the same, felt the same to observers. But what she was doing was the opposite of healing. The man's eyes widened in agony. He screamed, convulsing. The infection spread rapidly, fever spiking, organs beginning to shut down. What are you doing? Zhang Wei shouted. I'm healing him, Amara said calmly, even as the man died in front of her. Or trying to. Sometimes patients are too far gone. Sometimes they can't be saved. She met Jiang Wei's eyes. Bring me another. Maybe I'll have better luck. Rage flooded his expression. You're killing them. Prove it. My hands glow golden. It looks like healing. But you're right. Sometimes my gift doesn't work. Sometimes people die anyway. Her smile was cold. So what's it going to be? Keep bringing me your people so I can kill them slowly? Or let me go and hope I don't tell everyone that the great Jiang Wei threatened children to force a healer to murder his own men? Jiang Wei's hand moved to his gun. For a moment, Amara thought he'd actually shoot her, but then gunfire erupted outside the warehouse. Explosions, screams, and the door burst open to reveal Tai Yang, covered in blood, eyes blazing with fury, and a small army at his back. Get away from her, Tai Yang snarled, gun trained on Jiang Wei's head. Now! Everything happened fast. Jiang Wei's guards opened fire. Tai Yang's people returned it. Amara dove behind cover as bullets shredded the space. She saw Tai Yang moving like liquid death, taking down attackers with brutal efficiency. Saw his second in command, a woman named Li Sun-hee, drag Amara toward an exit. We need to get you out, Sun-hee shouted over the gunfire. Not without Tai Yang. He'll follow. Move! Sun-hee practically carried Amara out of the warehouse and into a waiting SUV. They sped away as the building erupted in flames behind them, and Amara's heart was in her throat. Was Tai Yang inside? Was he hurt? Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I'm fine. Go to the safe house. I'll meet you there. I love you. Tai relief flooded through her. He's okay. He's alive. Of course he is. Boss is like a cockroach. Impossible to kill. Sun-hee's voice was fond despite the situation. He cares about you, you know. I've never seen him like this. Vulnerable. Human. I care about him too. More than I should. Love doesn't care about should. It just is. Sun-hee glanced at her. You're good for him. Make him remember he's more than just the family head. Please don't give up on him. I won't, I promise. Tai Yang arrived at the safe house 2 hours later, exhausted and streaked with blood, but whole. Amara threw herself into his arms and he caught her, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. I thought I lost you, he whispered into her hair. When they took you, I've never been that afraid in my life. I'm okay. I'm here. We're both okay. She pulled back, checking him for injuries. Are you hurt? Whose blood is this? Not mine. Jiang Wei's people. His expression was grim. It's done, Amara. Jiang Wei is dead. His organization is scattered. No one will threaten you again. You killed him. I did. And I'd do it again. His eyes blazed. He took you, threatened you, made you use your gift to kill his own people. Yes, Sun-hee told me what you did. Brilliant and terrifying, by the way. Amara looked down at her hands, remembering. I killed a man today, used my healing to destroy instead of save. My grandmother would be horrified. You survived, that's what matters. Tai Yang tilted her chin up. Amara, you are not defined by one act of self-defense. You've saved countless people. One death in service of protecting yourself doesn't erase that. It feels like it should. I know, but it doesn't. You're still good, still light, still everything beautiful in this dark world. He kissed her forehead. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never have to make that choice again. How? By killing everyone who threatens me? No, by getting out, like I promised. He led her to the couch, pulling her down beside him. I've been negotiating with the other family heads. Quan family operations are transitioning to legitimate businesses over the next 2 years. I'm stepping down as head, installing my cousin in my place. We're out, Amara. We're really getting out. Hope bloomed in her chest. You're serious? You'd really walk away? For you? I'd walk away from everything. You saved my life, showed me there's more than violence and power. I want that more. I want a future with you. Marriage. Maybe kids someday. Building something good instead of maintaining something dark. Tears stung Amara's eyes. I love you. God, I love you so much it terrifies me. Then marry me. The words came out urgent, desperate. I know it's fast. I know we've barely had time to process everything. But Amara, life is short and dangerous and uncertain. I don't want to waste another second not being yours completely. Are you proposing? Right now? Covered in blood in a safe house after a gun battle? Yes, it's very on brand for us. His smile was soft despite the gravity. Amara Brooks, will you marry me? Build a life with me? Help me be the man you deserve while I protect you from every threat this world can throw at us? She should say it was too soon, should demand more time, more certainty. But her knowing whispered this was right. This was her future, standing in front of her, asking for forever. Yes, yes, you insane, beautiful, dangerous man. I'll marry you. He kissed her then, deep and desperate and full of promise. And Amara kissed him back, tasting blood and smoke, in the future they'd build together. Against all odds, against all logic, they'd found each other, and they weren't letting go. The transition out of criminal operations took 18 months. Taiyang kept his word, slowly, methodically closing illegal enterprises, moving resources into legitimate businesses, hotels, restaurants, import companies. He faced resistance from older generation members who saw it as weakness, but Amara stood beside him through every negotiation, every difficult decision. They married 6 months in, small ceremony, just close friends and family who understood their unconventional story. Nia was maid of honor. Sun He stood up for Taeyang. And when they exchanged vows promising to protect and cherish each other, Amara felt her magic flare golden, blessing their union. Meanwhile, Amara's reputation as a healer grew. She worked with UCLA Medical Center on a consultative basis, healing cases other doctors couldn't solve. But she was selective, careful not to burn herself out like her mother had. She learned her limits, honored them, and found ways to use her gift that didn't destroy her in the process. She also started teaching, working with researchers to understand healing magic, documenting everything her grandmother had taught her. If there were others with similar gifts out there, hiding in fear like she had, Amara wanted them to know they weren't alone. The media attention never fully died down, but it became manageable. Amara Brooks, the miracle healer, was a known quantity now, respected, protected by powerful interests, no longer vulnerable to exploitation. But danger still found them occasionally. The attack came on their first wedding anniversary. They were at a restaurant in Koreatown, the same one where Taeyang had first told Amara about his world, celebrating with close friends. Security was present but discreet. Everything felt safe, until a man approached their table, gun hidden under his jacket. Amara's knowing screamed warning half a second before he drew the weapon. "For Zhang Wei," the man snarled, aiming at Taeyang. Time slowed. Amara saw the finger tightening on the trigger, saw Taeyang reaching for his own weapon, knew neither would be fast enough. Her magic surged without conscious thought, golden light exploding from her hands. But this time, it didn't heal. It protected. The light formed a barrier between the gunman and Taeyang, solid as steel. The bullet hit it and ricocheted, shattering a window. Security tackled the gunman before he could fire again. The golden barrier faded, and Amara stared at her hands in shock. "What was that? That wasn't healing. That was something else." Taeyang pulled her close, checking her for injuries even as his security team secured the shooter. "You created a shield, protected me." Wonder filled his voice. "Your magic evolved." "I don't understand. Grandmother never mentioned protective magic, only healing." "Maybe she didn't know. Or maybe your magic is adapting, growing stronger." He cupped her face. "You saved me, again." "How many times is this now?" "I've lost count." Amara was shaking, adrenaline fading into shock. "He tried to kill you. On our anniversary, someone's still after you. Zhang Wei's son, seeking revenge for his father's death." Taeyang's expression was grim. "I thought we'd neutralized all threats from that organization. I was wrong. This will never end, will it? There will always be someone wanting revenge, wanting power, willing to hurt us to get it. Maybe, or maybe this is the last one, the final ghost of my old life before we're truly free." He pulled her closer. "But Amara, I promise you, we will get through this. We will build the peaceful life I promised, even if I have to eliminate every single threat personally. No more killing, please. You promised you were transitioning out." I have. But protecting you is non-negotiable. If that means getting my hands dirty one more time, then we find another way, together." Amara gripped his hands. "Taeyang, I didn't save you from poison just to watch you become the monster you're trying not to be. We're better than this. We handle this legally. We involve authorities. We don't sink back into violence. He wanted to argue, she could see it in his eyes. The instinct to protect through force, to eliminate threats permanently. But he also saw her determination and knew she was right. Okay, we do this your way. Legal channels, law enforcement. I'll use my resources to ensure Zhang's son faces justice without martyring him. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to be harder than just killing him. The legal system is slow, corruptible, frustrating. But it's right. And we need to be right, not just effective. The legal battle took 6 months. Zhang Wei's son, Zhang Chen, was arrested, charged with attempted murder, conspiracy, and a dozen other crimes. Tai Yang's lawyers were relentless, his connections ensuring a fair trial despite attempts at intimidation. Amara testified about the attack, about Zhang Chen's shouted declaration of revenge. The jury deliberated for 3 hours before finding him guilty on all counts. 30 years in federal prison, no possibility of parole for at least 20. It's over, Tai Yang said outside the courthouse, holding Amara close while reporters shouted questions. Really over this time. We did it the right way, the legal way. Relief and exhaustion warred in Amara's voice. No more blood on our hands. Well, no new blood anyway. His smile was wry. I can't change my past, but I can choose my future. And I choose you. Always you. 2 years after their anniversary attack, Tai Yang and Amara stood in front of a newly opened community health center in Koreatown. The building was state-of-the-art, funded by Tai Yang's legitimate business empire, and designed to provide free healthcare to underserved communities. Amara ran the center's Healing Magic Research Division, working with patients who exhausted traditional medicine, teaching other healers who were slowly coming forward, documenting everything so this knowledge wouldn't die with her generation. Tai Yang had fully transitioned out of criminal operations. The Quan family businesses were clean now, hotels, restaurants, import-export companies all operating legally. He'd kept his promise, built a legitimate empire, became someone respected in both Korean and wider Los Angeles communities. You did it, Amara said, watching people stream into the center's grand opening. Built something beautiful from darkness. We did it, together. He pulled her close, one hand resting on her stomach where their first child was growing, a daughter they'd learned last week, who would inherit both her mother's gift and her father's determination. Everything good in my life started the day you saved me. You gave me life twice, once with your magic, once with your love. I gave you life, you gave me purpose. Fair trade. She leaned into him, feeling magic stir. Not just her own now, but their daughters too, recognizing her parents. Our daughter is going to be extraordinary. She'll have you as a mother. Of course she will. He kissed her temple. Have I told you today that I love you? Only 3 times. You're slacking. I love you. 4. Amara Brooks Kwan, miracle worker, light of my life, mother of my child. I love you more than words can express. I love you too. My reformed crime boss, my partner, my heart, even when you're being dramatic. They stood together watching their community thrive. 2 people who'd saved each other in more ways than one. The waitress with golden hands and the Mafia boss who'd found redemption in her light. Together they'd built something impossible. A love that healed not just bodies, but souls. And in the years that followed, their daughter would grow up hearing the story of how mommy saved daddy's life with magic. How daddy protected mommy from the whole world. And how together they proved that even the darkest pasts can lead to the brightest futures. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected sources. Sometimes love means seeing past the poison to the person beneath. And sometimes the greatest magic isn't healing the body, it's healing 2 broken souls and making them whole. 10 years later, Amara stood in her healing center, surrounded by students learning to control their own gifts. The world had changed. Magic was accepted now, studied, celebrated. Healers from around the globe came to learn from the woman who'd started it all. Tai Yang ran his business empire with integrity, funded research into magical abilities, and used his connections to protect gifted individuals from exploitation. The Kwan family name meant something different now. Not fear, but respect. Not power through violence, but influence through good works. Their daughter, Sunmi, was 8 years old with her mother's healing magic and her father's strategic mind. She'd already healed her first patient, an injured bird she'd found in their garden, and the golden light in her hands had been even brighter than Amara's. She's going to be more powerful than me, Amara told Taiyang one night, watching Sunmi sleep. Good. The world needs more light, more healing, especially in the darkness. He wrapped his arms around his wife. Thank you for believing in me, for seeing who I could be instead of who I was. Thank you for choosing to change, for proving that people can be redeemed. They stood together in the quiet darkness, two people who'd found each other across impossible circumstances. The poison